Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Talking Smack, where we talk superheroes, movies, animation, and comics. I am your host, Josh Scar. Joining me this week is Becky. Becky, how you doing?
Good. So good. Ready to talk about Futurama.
And we have a special guest. We have a special guest joining us this week. It is Brendan from the UnChefed podcast. Brendan, how you doing?
Hey, Josh. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, too. Happy to be talking Futurama with you. I know we had some fun doing all that. And some memes and stuff on Twitter. So this is a really exciting opportunity for all of us.
I'm stoked. I can't wait. I love the show so much. Just so much.
So I know what a lot of people are thinking. Oh, Becky.
I was gonna. Oh, how dare you? Edit that out.
Get it out of here.
Fine, you bitch. Edit that out.
I call you Rebecca, and I don't know why, but my mind just decided to cut the "r" out of it and just went Becca.
All right, here we go. We're gonna organically go into after you edited. My favorite part about Futurama is sorry. Okay, I'm done. That's the last one, I promise. I was just gonna say I'm in currently season 9, about to be 10 of my rewatch. That took about a month or less. I binged Futurama so hard, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to binge it as often as I used to. But I know what a lot of you are thinking is, oh, they're just talking about Futurama because they're bringing it back on Hulu. Wrong. We've had this in the works since well before they announced that it was coming back as a revival on Hulu, well before the John DiMaggio drama. And this is because we are celebrating the 23rd anniversary of Futurama. Last time we did an episode on the 19th anniversary. So we're continuing with the weird year anniversary celebrations. That's all this is. And if you want to go back and listen to an episode that Rebecca, Becky, and I did, I'm going to fumble over this.
What's my name? Call me Shabadoo.
Shabadoo.
That's a Futurama reference right there.
Yes, I know. Fry's great no, the professor's dad. So it's his
professor's parent.
His nephew, however many times removed.
Graham doesn't like it there, and I know Shabba don't.
So before we dive into this, we have one of our ads, which Brendan is actually the mastermind of these brain trust ads that we've been doing. This ad is from our friends at the Super Familiar with the Wilsons podcast. So we will be right back.
The Super Familiar with the Wilsons podcast. You know that family whose house you hung out in when you were a kid? The house was a little loud and chaotic, but always fun, and sometimes felt more home than home. Well, that's us.
We're the Wilsons, and we welcome you into our podcast with silly chat, ridiculous games, and interviews with interesting people.
Like a spin doctor. The Super Familiar with the Wilsons podcast.
Welcome home.
Welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed that ad spot from our friends at the Super Familiar with the Wilsons podcast. Brendan, you did a guest spot with them too, right?
I did. I love them. I think Josh and Amanda are just the funniest, coolest people, and they put together a really fun show. Josh does all the music. He's an artist. It's just, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, their podcast is a lot of fun. You've been on a lot of shows lately. It seems like every time I open up Twitter, it's like, hey, Brendan's here. And I was all excited, like, oh yeah, we got Brendan coming on. And now it's like, oh, he's doing everyone's show. This isn't so special.
Oh.
I'm a friend.
But Brendan and I, we connected on his podcast, UnChefed. We talked about Good Burger, and he was actually one of the first people we talked to when we brought the podcast back, the UnChefed podcast, which I love. We just kicked it off pretty quickly, and we've crossed over before, and hopefully we'll cross over again. Rebecca's getting attacked by her dog.
For sure, Rebecca's getting attacked by her dog, but also for sure we'll collaborate again. People really like the Good Burger episode. There's something I don't know. I think we hit a vein with the nostalgia.
Nostalgia's big. I mean, we can definitely find something else.
Or like I don't know. Me personally, that's like such a rich and deep well of nostalgia attached to the show. And so since the Good Burger thing worked out so well, I was so excited to hear that you were doing this, and very humbled that you invited me, and I'm glad that you did it before you soured on the fact that I'm like the community bicycle at this point.
Everybody's riding that guy.
He's riding.
I really appreciate you being on. It is a great pleasure to have you on, especially with how great your podcast is. I appreciate you taking the time to take a break from talking about food to talk about Futurama, something that, again, we all love and enjoy. So I did want to take a quick moment to kind of just talk about how the show has lasted for you. Rebecca has already kind of shared that she watches this show like twice a year,
Every year.
start to finish every year.
Absolutely.
So like, why do you do that? What is it about the show that just makes you want to come back to it twice a year, every year?
Okay, so I'm 29, going to turn 30. So I would have pretty much been watching reruns, and I can't even remember like where I watched it, what I caught it on, like before, finding it on a streaming service. So I don't even know like why in the first place, but I know I was afraid of King of the Hill because of the ant episode, because I thought it was a scary. And at the time, I was like, this is not fun and cute drawing. This is scary. And I didn't like, I think there's only, what was the other one that was really popular at the same time as King of the Hill? It was like adult.
The Family Guy had come around, and then
yeah, Family Guy was out.
Simpsons, Futurama, those were
and I'd never watched The Simpsons either. Like we just didn't. My parents weren't into it. They didn't care about TV or anything like that. So they were like, they weren't watching it. I just remember seeing it and being like, I think the very first episode I saw was not 3001. I think it is the second episode or second or third where they go to the moon and Fry's all excited about the moon. And then I think it was like the first time I realized, I was like, oh, like that's a reference to something. And that's a reference to something. And like, I kind of get these references. Like, this is really funny when they do stuff like this. Like, a farm on the moon, like, and they're rednecks. This is crazy.
The moon.
Like, what's happening? And I remember I was like, all right, you know what? Like, it's out at this time, and I'm gonna like schedule it so I can watch my show. And everybody thought it was so weird in my family. They were like, this cartoon. And then every time they release more things, I always seem to really like it.
That theme park's a mighty sinful place. Tilt-A-Whirl's okay though.
And then like
when he's like, Crushinator jump, and she's like, no,
I love him.
I love him.
Oh, Bender, you didn't touch the Crushinator. A woman that fine has to be romance. I identify with the Crushinator. I also need to be romanced.
You also have a gun rack in your
Absolutely, yes.
That's awesome. That's a great show. That's a great episode to come in on, I think.
It has like everything. The characters are kind of established, like a little bit, like not as much as they will be, but like Bender's doing his thing and like has his moments, and like the Fry and Leela thing is like kind of going on, like, and then everybody else is in it too. Like Amy's in it. Yeah, it's particularly good.
So Brendan, what is it about Futurama that stuck with you?
Well, I mean, I think she did a really good job of sort of grazing what it is for me. These are stories that we're familiar with, told in a really absurd way. Like that whole I can't do this, but I love them is like, that's so many different pieces of, entertainment and literature. So we recognize this story, but then it's like a big robot that turns into a car with like kind of backcountry sort of stereotype father, but he's like on the moon. Like we get all these stereotypes, but they're just like put in different environments.
Or like, yeah, like the farmer's daughter, but it's like he's got 3 robots. Like what? Like
my 3 beautiful robot daughters. Yeah. So like we're familiar, like everything about it is like, I get this, but it's told in like just this slightly absurd way that is interesting and really intriguing. And I think that frequently that absurdity is something that the writers, to their credit, are frequently able to attach like a lot of sentiment to, because they develop the characters so well within these absurd environments. And I immediately fell in love with the way that they were able to build a world and build characters and tell familiar stories in completely different and exciting ways. You could do anything with Futurama, from visiting another dimension to going to the past to the future to alien worlds. It was just, I think, short of something like Doctor Who, there's really no other show that has like the deep pool of material to draw from that a show like Futurama does. So that's what stood out to me, and still does.
Yeah, it's 100% all of those things, because it can be whatever it needs to be because it works through the lens of satire. So you can just muck your way through whatever because you can just say science, future science.
Yeah. It's really playing around with the idea that science is just magic that's been explained.
Yeah. So for me, Futurama really means a lot because I mean, I'd been watching the show since it had debuted on Fox. I remember watching the premiere. I believe it premiered March 1999, and it was just bleeding into the whole Y2K phenomenon and all that. But where it really kind of started sticking with me was when it was on Adult Swim. And this was back in like 2005, 2006, where they would have like a 2-hour block of Futurama. And I had gone through a really bad breakup at the time, which Rebecca knows all about.
Oh,
And it just became a comfort show for me because like I would fall asleep to it. It would be like one of the few things that would actually allow me to fall asleep because I was such a mental wreck from this thing. And I ended up buying all the box sets and everything so I could like put it in my DVD player and just let the episodes run while I fell asleep. It got to a point where I could literally hear the opening line of the episode. Didn't matter if it was good news, everyone. I would be like, I know this episode. I know exactly what episode this is, just from the context and the setting. I didn't get to the point where I could read the sub caption on the opening credits and know what episode it was. But just from the opening sequence of like even the first line of dialogue, I'm like, oh, I know this one. This is the Slurm episode, or this is the episode where they do Titanic and all that. So it's a really big comfort show for me. And when they do the sentimental stuff, it really gets me because it's like this thing I love is doing something about love, and I love it.
yeah, that's me and you a lot with this. I think Josh and I are both like, this is so cute because Josh at the store when we worked together was grumpy. Grumpy hates the world, Josh. And Rebecca was 16 and
Super naive and just
just me, a bubbly ray of sunshine, which I still am. Now I'm a little bit more hate the world, Becky, but that's why when I watch it, I'm like, Fry and Leela, love's not real, but it's really, really cute. Like every time I'm like, oh, it's so cute. Yeah, that's every time. It's so cute. What a good show. Man, we should talk about it.
The best relation. Yeah, we should talk about this. That is one of the best relationships ever. Fry and Leela is just like that's the perfect TV relationship as far as I'm concerned. There's not going to be a reality that's quite as I don't know, fleshed out as their relationship is.
I am curious how they're going to handle the relationship with the revival because they essentially reset it, didn't they, with the finale?
Yeah.
They closed it out pretty well. Like they did the whole like living through time, growing old together
I
alone.
love that episode with all that where when Leela's like, I didn't regret a single second of it. Just living in a frozen timescape where they grew old together. Just that hit me in the sentimentalism.
I know that was like the big time real feels where you're like, oh God, why is this stupid animated show like making me tear up right now?
Well, that's the thing. I said that you don't have like real relationships that get as fleshed out. That's not true. But what is true about the relationship between them is that it has like these several little really profound moments, and that's all you see of it is just like you're springboarding from like, when Fry gets the worms and becomes like the perfect person for her, and then like he gets rid of the worms and he can't play the song right, and then like it shows him like practicing making the face in the end, and then you see him like move the stars in the Globetrotter episode, and then you see the Devil's Hands where he like actually starts playing the song and like forming the two of them with that dinky little music where they like just kind of sweetly kiss and then run off holding hands. Like it's just like you springboard from this one moment to the next, and you can see like a little bit of progress every time, and every single aspect of what it took for him to be like go from being just this idiot that she hated and couldn't ever see anything with to like her seeing how sweet and loyal he is, and his perseverance like paying off despite his like he's incapable of doing things right a lot of the times. I don't know. That's just I really like the relationship, and it's really easy to see how that would emotionally move you, that progression.
Yeah, well, and he doesn't like change, that's like Leela gets her idiot moments. He keeps in his idiot moments like They don't make him any other character. They just basically
Yeah.
become like best friends that get each other. But I think actually I thought the same thing, like, how can you go from the last episode? I will say Josh texted me about the Hulu thing, and I was like, I love Futurama. I'm not excited about it because it makes me nervous. Like,
Yeah.
I just want it to be good. I want it to be like what it always is supposed to be. They did like when Fry builds the robot and they're confused in the reincarnation episode. So they end with their kiss and then they do the robot thing, and they even go through that whole thing of like, well, like, why don't we just be friends for now? Like, they do a really good job of resetting the relationship when they need to, because it's not Fry that you have to question, it's Leela. So like, no matter what, he's always gonna like try to impress Leela and like do whatever he can to get to her, and he'll wait for it. It doesn't bother him. So if they do reset everything, it would be like the Girl Try episode where he's like, I'm gonna figure out what I did to make you love me, and I'm gonna do it again. And I think that would be very easy for them to do.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
And I love what you said just then, Brendan, about how it progresses. Fry's never really, Fry doesn't get aggressive with his affection and with his attempts to woo Leela. It's not kind of like Steve Urkel, where he was very aggressive towards Laura. But with Fry, it is very much to like what both of you just said, where he's like, okay, I will wait for my next opportunity whenever that shows up.
And he has a lot of moments like where the holophoner comes back in, like in a random episode. He has it like, it doesn't really have anything to do with Leela. Like, he's like practicing it, and then it's like out of the episode. And that, it's like that continuation thing that animated shows don't really have to do. And then there's whole shows where he might make one joke, Leela, will you go out with me? And then that's it. It's not every single show that like it focuses on whatever's happening between them, which I also really like. Like they bring it back when it needs to be in the forefront, and they ignore it when it doesn't need to be in the forefront.
Well, they do a good job of evolving both characters. They frame Fry's evolution through like he evolves through Leela's acceptance of him. So you see like Leela actually growing to accept this character of Fry, which is difficult for her because she grew up alone and made fun of in an abandoned, like an orphanarium, which is interesting because again the show's so absurd, but you're like, wow, that actually makes sense. That's how people work. Like she would have relationship issues because of that. It would be difficult for her to trust somebody as genuine as Fry, who's making mistakes. Like, she wouldn't trust his loyalty. But since Fry's like growth as a character is sort of grounded in Leela's acceptance of him, you get to see both characters kind of grow simultaneously together, and that's just amazing storytelling. So you have this legitimately funny, because it's not just sentimental, it's fucking hilarious. It's a really, really funny show, and it manages to do this really good job of storytelling without like ever missing any of its jokes. Like, all of them land, like every single joke lands.
Yeah, there's very few episodes where I'm like, I'm over this one. Like, I know I'm in the minority with it, but the Lucy Liu episode, I don't like that one. And then the battling butterfly one, I forget the name of that one. It's from the newer seasons.
That one, murder fly.
Yeah, that one I will skip in a heartbeat. There's nothing redeemable in that episode to me.
Really? I like that one. I think it's hilarious. It's, you know what? Because it is absolutely ridiculous. I think that one makes me laugh. I like it because of the Fry and Kif being like, our girlfriends, like, we just want to hang out with them. Like,
the role reversal. Yeah, the role reversal. I can see that, but again, there's just, for me, there's too much. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's shining a light on like heavy masculinity and toxic masculinity, but in the guise of women overdosing on, or not overdosing, but like abusing steroids and performance enhancing drugs. I don't know. There's just something about that episode that just doesn't resonate with me.
That's like me and the iPhone episode.
Yeah.
I guess as much as I get like the GMO episode, like that one makes me laugh. And at the end, they're like, there's no answer, kind of like the evolution one as well. I like how they handle both of those. But the iPhone one is like, yeah, we get it. Technology is like controlling our lives. All right. like Susan Boyle. I don't know why that's really in there. It's not that funny.
That was a
Like,
really
also-
dated reference even back
it was
then
so
when that one
old
aired.
at the time. I was so confused that they like randomly threw out Susan Boyle. I was just like, okay, it's funny, but it's really weird, and it doesn't. Yeah, it didn't like hold.
I think
up
I
or
was still
anything.
living with my parents when Susan Boyle became a thing.
Yeah,
So when that episode aired well after I had moved out, so that had to have been at least like a 5 to 6 year time gap for that kind of reference.
yeah, it was just strange and like, but it was like that kind of thing. Like we're making fun of Twitter and Apple and like, yeah, I'm just like, I don't know, like the Fry and Leela thing was kind of cute in there, but it wasn't.
It felt that episode specifically. I would say the Murder Flies episode too, but that episode, the iPhone episode specifically, just felt like tonally out of sync with the rest of the shows. I don't know if I would say it's bad TV. Like I still enjoy it. It's still, it's still Futurama, which I think is basically a sign of quality right from the get-go. I'm going to watch a Futurama episode, but it just doesn't feel tonally consistent.
Yeah, it doesn't like match up with like how clever like the Globetrotter episode is.
You are all fools of the highest order.
That episode feels like it's so long too. Like I'm like, how is this only 22 minutes? So much happens in this episode, and it's so clever.
They're able to do like that. That was such a good plot device because every time it skipped forward, like you understand why you missed out on so much storytelling. But like ultimately what happened for the people that were telling the story is they didn't have to tell a lot of story. They could
like it was like just move it along.
Yeah, and you're like, this makes sense. It's all consistent. It tells a very like decent, but it feels like it covers so much ground. And that's not the only episode where they're able to do that, where it feels like you go from this insanely like large gap between like the start and the end of the episode, like the one with I don't want to live on this planet anymore, which I think was one of the
so much happens in that episode.
So much happens. Like you see an entire world come from like a puddle into like this advanced society, and they do a good job of playing around with time and like cramming just so much story into so little space, and again, all while being funny and sentimental. It's truly remarkable.
Yeah, the I don't want to live on this planet episode anymore really that one plays well with Time Keeps on Slipping, because again, the main characters just kind of go to bed, they wake up, and all of a sudden it's a completely different time period for them. They went to bed, it was dinosaurs, they wake up and now it's cavemen. Then they go to sleep again and now it's the future, and then everything's just evolved into just floating orbs and like, we're going now.
Yeah. Later, everybody.
Which is conceptually, that's an amazing theory to play on too, because again, like one thing they never really touch on is like light speed and time differentials. But in this episode, you also have the idea that, okay, so someone who can live, it's kind of like Grogu. I know Rebecca's going to hate this, but in Star Wars, in the season 2 of or in the book of Boba Fett, they talk about Baby Yoda and his time perception, because he's going to live 900 years, but the person he wants to be with, the Mandalorian, is only going to live maybe 60, 70 more years. He's going to have 800 more years of a life to live. And they kind of touch on that with, is it Nibbler? Or there's an episode of Futurama that kind of touches on that too. And that now I'm blanking on it.
With the time. Yeah. By the time what was it? A million universes will have flared into existence and then sunken into eternal night or whatever.
Yes.
I love the show.
Yes. So what really brings us here today, besides gushing about Futurama and sharing stories, is we had this idea of doing like an awards kind of thing, since it is Oscar season, which we just came up with 9 completely random ideas of like, what's the cutest moment, or who's the best member of the Fry family that's not Philip. And we put it out on Twitter, and we got quite a few responses, more than I was expecting. And so we're going to go through the results and just kind of see what we think about what the public perception is here. The first category we have is best non-Philip or Seymour member of the Fry family. And the results are a tie between Yancy and Mom.
I feel burned that the dad didn't win that one.
Yeah. I am too.
I don't get me wrong. I think that the mom is funny. I don't see why Yancey would have won. I feel like that's really more of a we don't know like what our options are kind of answer. Because what did Yancey ever do in any episode?
Well, in the Luck of the Friarish,
Yeah,
that's his redeeming episode. Yeah, because he is a shithead in every other episode, and he starts the episode off, and you're like, man, like fuck Yancey, like what? This guy's a dick to his little brother, like he's so typical older brother, and then they build up for me. They build up the idea that maybe some of us who have older siblings who are not the best people in the world, they build up the idea that how is the older brother jealous of Fry when Fry in the future is like, who would be jealous of him? So we have our perception of like, who cares about Fry? Like, why would he want? But you go back and you see like these people liked him and he was kind of popular, and because he had this 4-leaf clover and he kind of had this like weird random stuff going for him, and all his older brother wanted to do was be better than him or more like him. It's like that jealousy thing. Like he
yeah,
wanted what Phil had, which is an unusual dynamic for siblings, I think, especially in TV shows. And then at the end, for him to be missing Fry, and then to want to name his son after Fry, and then to remember the clover and give the clover to Fry or to his son, like that's good stuff for me. But it's his only good episode.
yeah. I like the fact that they kind of humanize him.
Yes.
And I like that episode just for no other reason. That one quote, like Phil came in, right, strummed out this tune. Yeah, I was like, that's a #1 record. Like that's one of my favorite quotes. I love that episode so much. But like I look at him versus the dad, and I think there's just as much sentiment built up with the dad in the Cold Warriors episode when he gives Fry the beer at the end.
Oh,
and
that's I watched that recently, and that's when I like looked at the survey and I was like, these people are crazy. Like in that whole episode, he's like, you're like, man, like poor Fry, like his dad's kind of being a dick to him or whatever. And then that one moment at the end where he like gives that speech and he like again does like he like looks at him and says, I love you, son. That's big family stuff. Again, like that sentimental stuff that they were able to kind of push into the show. Like you see what like a gruff guy he is. He admits to being a gruff guy who's hard on his son, but then like gives his reasoning kind of afterwards. And you're like, okay, that same thing. It humanizes him. It's really sweet. Like I don't feel like Fry's mom really gets like that moment. I think again, it's like the whole she's a mom. Like, of course she misses her son kind of thing, but she never really gets her like redeemable moment.
You said there's like a mother's love is inherent,
Yeah.
and a father's love is something that needs to be enforced. And I think that is something that is definitely true in media. I don't know if I would say that it's always true in real life, but like when it comes to media and the perception of like family roles in media,
Yes.
I would say that's almost always correct.
And I think that's why it's easy for people to be like, when Fry goes back and is stuck in the past, and his mom serves and he kisses her on the cheek, and you're supposed to be like, oh, like that's a cute mother-son moment, but what did she do? That was on Fry. Like they don't really give her anything other than, well, she's his mom. And I'm one of those people, they came out with those GIF commercials around the Olympics, and it was all like what, behind every athlete is the mom. And I was like watching it like, okay, what about, we got single dads, we got two dads, I was like so mad about it. Like I was like, this is dumb. Like, what about dads? I'm out here for the dad world and how good they do for their kids. So maybe that's also why I was like, the dad is my favorite non-Seymour member of the Fry family.
He's also funnier. Like I like
he is funnier.
Yeah, the mom has like a funny little like hi, like kind of like nasally voices, just like I'm playing golf, I'm watching football, like I'm touchdown in the middle of like whatever she's saying, and it's like it's sort of comedic as like furniture or landscape.
Yes.
But she doesn't say anything that's like independently funny. It's more like how she responds to other characters in the show.
Her family is like a second priority because she's more invested in her sports.
Yeah, and that's like the joke with her for the most part. And I just think the dad's constant paranoia and like, how he thinks that we're gonna get bombed or turned into monkeys or like that's funnier to me. I don't know.
I know, I agree with that. Like even in that whole cold episode, he and Yancey directly interact with Fry, and the mom never does.
Yeah.
She never does. I know that's kind of the point, but that's why I just don't really she's just a background character.
Yeah. So
through this discussion, you guys have actually swayed me. I think the dad probably should have one. Maybe just again, like we just have those heartstring moments, because I voted in this. I don't know if either of you did, but I just to make sure we had some kind of results. I put in some votes, and I went with the mom, because in the Game of Tones episode, you have those moments where Fry's just like, I just want to talk to my mom, and he like it's such great emotion from Billy West as Fry, and just that desperation that he misses his mom so much that he doesn't care that it's a simulation, that it's a dream. He just wants to see his mom one more time and have a conversation with her one more time.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel that now because my dad passed away 2 years ago, and I get that every now and then where I'm like, I just want to talk to him one more time. I just kind of like shifted over to the mom character for me. And so in this, like, it just, especially in the end where she's just like, I have all the time in the world for you, Phil. And it was so touching. I think that kind of really made me forget about all the fun stuff with the dad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all decided the dad is our favorite character.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it.
That one.
So the next one is the most memeable moment quote, which put me to shame because I forgot something in the survey. Because I most of these I had a throw in your own quote kind of thing, or throw in your own reference. So I had put in, shut up and take my money. I am shocked. Well, not that shocked. Bite my shiny metal ass. Shut up, baby. I know it, because Rebecca needed that one. And good news, everyone. And then there's, I don't want to live on this planet anymore, which someone wrote in. And I was just like, oh my God, I shouldn't be writing this episode. I forgot. I don't want to live on this planet anymore. So the winner of through the group poll, or the fan poll, however we want to phrase it, was shut up and take my money, which I do think that is the most memeable moment, but is it the funniest?
I don't know if it's the funniest. I think first off, there's so many memeable moments in the show, so many quotes that like you can't hold yourself accountable for remembering all of them. Like there's like 20 that we could probably come up with. You win again, gravity, or
yes.
Like it,
like the one-offs.
Yeah, he made good snoo. Like there's just so many different quotes. But just as far as what you have right here is concerned, I think the funniest is it's Saturday night. I have no date, a large orange Shasta, and my Rush mixtape. Okay. Let's rock.
Was that you that you put in?
No, I didn't.
Who wrote that? Because I just clicked over it and I was like, that's hilarious. I just watched that episode again. I just watched all these recently, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's not a memeable quote, but that it was so
in the
Billy West tweets that out every Saturday night, and I love it.
Does he really?
Yeah, if you follow him on Twitter.
That's amazing. I don't Twitter. I'm 80.
There you go. There's your hook to
the Golden Girls.
There's your hook to join Twitter. Just follow the Talking Smack, UnChefed, and Billy West accounts.
What's Talking Smack?
Billy West now.
It's what you're on right now.
I'm not on UnChefed. I want to talk about food. I thought we were talking about and other various snacks that you can get from them. Did you know if you pour a bottle of or can of large orange Shasta Cola in a box mix of white cake mix or whatever, you'll have yourself some low-calorie cupcakes that you can eat while listening to your Rush mixtape and playing video games.
Where Tom Sawyer he gets high on you.
I listen to that probably 2 or 3 times a week at the gym. I coach, so I'm in charge of the music, and one of my playlists has it on. And every time, like someone in my heart, I'm like, yeah, love this. Some epic, it's so good, so funny. Now I will say, I'm looking at like, okay, most memeable moment / quote. I would say like when I was thinking about my response to it, I was thinking about the one that gets repeated and stays funny because it's like it becomes its own catchphrase, but it's like it's not tedious. which would be the "Shut up, baby, I know it," "Bite my shiny metal ass," and like the "Good news, everyone." Because the other ones are, they're one-offs, very funny, but like you said, there's so many. Like, are you funky enough to be a globetrotter? Like, that's hilarious.
Are you?
Are you? Well, with time, and are you? No. Like, those are good. I think my favorite out of the ones that like they say would be "Shut up, baby, I know it." I love. Oh, I changed my mind because I just realized it's not until close to the end. But my favorite thing that gets, I'm gonna say catchphrase, that gets said over and over again is when Bender says, "Let's go already." That's my favorite.
Yes. Is it the there's I love it. There's the one where he has the accordion and he just starts playing with the accordion and he's like, I don't
He
even
sings it. "Let's go already." Like,
Yes.
it's so okay. That's my favorite. I'll never get tired of hearing that.
My favorite is "I am shocked." Well, not that shocked, because it is so prominent and timely in pretty much any news that comes out anymore. Oh, this person said this. I am shocked. Well, not that shocked. No.
Is that when Zoidberg's trying to eat the leech?
No, that's the Miss Universe pageant. They find out that Bender is the evil Bender.
Yes. Okay, and then Leela says it again. That was like the second time I really remembered it, is when in the Wild Green Yonder, when she's a feminist, says she's going back for the leech and Zoidberg's about to eat it. And she goes, "Zoidberg, I am shocked at you." Well, not that shocked. Like, and then she like kind of ends at the end like, "Well, not really, or at all." I was like, okay, yeah, those two remind me of each other.
You know, I don't know if it would work as a quote. It's certainly memeable, I would say, and I've said it several times. But whenever Zoidberg like whoop, 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 goes away, like that's
Stooge,
actually,
yes.
That's classic.
yeah,
that is a really good one. And yeah, I never get tired of that whenever it comes on.
It's not like words, so I don't know if it's like you could say it's a quote or like, but I would say I've used that quite a bit. My daughter's like, "Can you do this?" I'm like, then I exit.
And then I'm done. That's how I escape every situation.
Next category is best commercial. So best fake product placement, essentially, for the Futurama universe. The winner being Slurm at 37.5%. Then we have, is that Poplars, which we don't have a proper rating on that one because I accidentally misspelled it and tried to go back and fix it.
4 votes. So it's still under Slurm.
Yeah, I'm the one that wrote an 80s guys Mac ad. I wrote that one in because I forgot about that one, and I was like, yeah, that one.
I'm watching that.
Then we have Anything Charleston Chew, which is more Richard Nixon and Blernsball ads, like they're the spoken word ads. We've got a couple votes for Molten Boron, Anything Mom, 1 vote for Thompson's Teeth, and Walrus Juice. But yeah, Slurm wins.
I thought Walrus Juice would have had a stronger showing. Brought to you by Fishy Joe's. Ride the Walrus.
And they're like, watch, it's so good. I actually, I was like, I didn't want to type this one in because I thought like the Slurm one does make me laugh every time it comes on. But what do I say all the time? The Pepperidge Farm one. I don't know if that, I was like, I mean, that is a quote, but I do that all the time. I'll be like, "Hey, remember when I said I wasn't going to drink last night and like text you drunkenly?" Pepperidge Farm remembers. Like, I say that constantly. So I was like, oh, I think that counts as a commercial, but that's my favorite one out of all of them. But I and the Walrus Juice.
I was thinking about adding in the Lightspeed briefs as an option, but I wasn't sure if that technically counted since it's injected straight into your brain.
That's just cheating, really. The other ones, have to be on television and they have a fighting chance.
So this one is a bit of an upset, I think, for me, because among other things, there's just so many of them, much like the quotes. We had best celebrity head cameo. So with this one, the idea was they only could show up for a moment. It wasn't like an entire episode, or it wasn't a recurring role like Richard Nixon and stuff like that, which I should have put in Bill Clinton, because I still love that quote of "nothing I do technically counts as sex anymore."
that was super funny. I know. So that was what I was thinking, because all of the president heads that only get like like, oh, he's over there throwing up in the bushes. Like those are like very tiny little cameos. Or like you're like, hey, look, that guy's head's in a jar or whatever. The Penn and Teller, I think, is very funny. When they're hosting the Poker World Tournament.
Someone forgot to feed Teller.
Someone forgot to feed Teller. Our act didn't really change very much after he passed away.
With this, the nominees that we had written down were Pamela Anderson, Leonard Nimoy, which that one was kind of I was going back and forth on that, but in the pilot episode, he gets a cameo and then they get an actual full episode together. I think that still counts because he doesn't keep recurring. Then Conan O'Brien, Beck, and Claudia Schiffer were the initial ones. And then we have Al Gore, which again, I don't know that one counts because he keeps coming back and then he does actually have like a full episode kind of dedicated to him. And he's also ridden the moonworm.
Everything he says is so funny.
I know.
What is it? Harry Potter and the threat of global warming or something like that.
Yeah, so funny.
I liked his overt, like, damn it, that $200 could have bought me 1 gallon of gas. And then like it zooms in on his head.
Or the that'll be, I don't know, $10. Do you make change for a Nobel Peace Prize? That's a good one.
So the winner of the fan vote was actually Beck for the Lost City of Atlanta ballad from that episode that also features one of the. I never understood why this was censored, but I remember
that was Donovan.
Was it Donovan? I thought it was Beck.
Donovan.
Oh no, Beck is when Bender wants to be
yes.
Oh man, I completely messed
the broken
that one
robot
up.
episode.
Yeah, I completely messed that one up. I'm sorry, everyone who voted and is actually listening to this. But my vote is Conan O'Brien. I think that one's great because he makes Bender feel bad.
Oh my, but it's so cute. You know what you'll never have? Freckles. And then he like, and he cries. Oh my God, that one is so good. That was really good.
His hair goes above the water.
Yes.
And he's like, play me off, Max. Oh, Max.
Max and Teller, they both forget to get fed, apparently.
I know. I like how some of the heads survive and then other ones like just don't. They don't really know what that's about. Or you know what? We should have said Welshie was our favorite cameo. Welshie.
Yes.
Actually,
Welshie.
I really like also he doesn't have any words, but one of my favorite like random celebrity heads is Scott Bakula. Only way to kill the franchise. Bakula. That's I like that one a lot.
Snoop Dogg as the Chief
Justice
of the Supreme Court was pretty good too. Gotta appreciate that.
Yeah, there's just so many. Like going back to the presidents, where Gerald Ford's like, I never found voting to be crucial to the process.
Yeah.
No kidding, dude.
Yeah. Then Bob Dole's angry. Like,
so good.
LaRouche won't stop telling knock jokes.
Every time Rich Little is as somebody else. Rich Little here as, and then it's him as a different celebrity. Those are so funny.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I feel like the celebrities that you don't expect are the good ones. Like they don't go for like top two. You don't have like Tom Cruise, and I think these would have been the big celebrities that would be like Tom Cruise is the only actor I can think of that was big at that period for some reason.
you got Clooney, you got the Friends group, you got
like they weren't drawing from like heavy pop culture. They were drawing from like, and it says something like which celebrities would even be in the future as heads. The ones that have like a little bit more, like Mario Lopez would totally be a head in the jar. For some reason, he just doesn't go away. It's not like society hasn't decided that like there's a bit of a, I think, flash in the panness to celebrity, and I think that there are some that just stick like the Coreys and like where it's just like they're just kind of low level celebrities that are destined to be celebrities forever, and those are the ones that you want heads in the jars for on the episodes of Futurama. I think.
Yes, I like that. They do a good job of picking like who it is, like George Foreman. Know who that is. You know why he's on there, but like that's so much funnier than like think if they tried to make an episode with like any of the Marvel characters. Like they're wildly popular, but they wouldn't be funny, and they wouldn't like why would they be a part of that? Like that's just whatever. But it works for like the cast of Star Trek and all like the random people they pull in. I guess they're not heads in a jar, but the Dixie Chicks thing is hilarious to me. That's always funny. Every single time. I do when you watch it, you're like, oh, that person's in it, or like this person. I was thinking about, we should have asked like what our favorite because they're not like just a guest spot like in general, because B. Arthur is my favorite. Like think about
yeah, she was
B. Arthur.
Femme Pewter, right?
Yeah, she was Femme Pewter. Like she's also in an episode of Malcolm in the Middle, and is very funny in it. And it's just like this very serious, stern-looking woman who looks like this is in a ridiculous animated cartoon where that one line where she's like, have you ever been like a fembot, like pretending to be a femme pewter in a world run by a man pewter that's actually a man bot? Like, just imagine her in the studio recording that.
Yeah,
like, so good.
Yeah, that was a pretty standout line.
That was good. She was excellent.
Like, yeah, femme pewter's fembot living in a man pewter man bot's world. So good. That's a difficult one to remember.
I did want to shout out the one person who wrote in the Beastie Boys as a cameo, which I think that one's great because I love where Fred's like, I had all 5 of your albums. Like, it's been 1,000 years. Now we got 7.
Yeah.
Oh, can I borrow some tapes? Like, I don't want to buy them, but I will copy them directly from you.
And I like that they're only in the beginning, but then at the end of the episode, they're in the robot hell. And I was like, that's one of my favorite episodes. I like that they came back at the end in robot hell. That is a really good one. Whoever wrote that in.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, I think if we're talking strictly cameo, I think Conan O'Brien gets it for me, but I do like the Beastie Boys. I like that one a lot.
Agreed.
Yeah, those two are particularly good.
Agreed.
But the fan vote goes to Beck, even though I screwed up the idea of cameo. I meant Donovan. We're gonna say it's Donovan that wins because I screwed that up.
Or I think that just everybody really liked the Beck episode.
Yeah.
But again, is it a cameo?
No, it's not.
How loose are we playing with our own rules?
We are playing loose.
Not a cameo either, then, you know.
No, she's not. But I just want to give credit to the particular episode because obviously whoever voted for Peck, they were like, "Oh yeah, I liked that episode." So I agree. It was a funny episode.
All right, so this next one, I actually had to do some research on because I completely forget about this family that just kind of keeps showing up. Is the best Waterfall family member. We have Old Man Waterfall, Free Waterfall Senior, Free Waterfall Junior, Frida Waterfall, Free Waterfall the Third, and Hutch Waterfall. And I have a feeling that a lot of people just kind of picked a name because I think this is such an out there category. This is like when the Academy Awards do Best Original Screenplay, and they're like, aren't they all just words on a page? How does this work?
Like, what does this mean? I don't understand.
Well, I was the one who suggested this category because I think there's just a lot of really funny things. Like, I love Free Waterfall Jr.'s whole, like, you can't own property, man. Professor says, I can because I'm not a penniless hippie. And then the whole vegetarian thing, like, no, we taught a lion to eat tofu. And then they show the lion, like, like, it's just, there's a lot of, Free Waterfall. You're the penguin guy is like, that's nature's pocket. Like, put your hands in your buttocks.
I literally just said that like 3 times yesterday when I was at the food truck because it was so cold.
Yeah.
I would be like taking orders. I'd be like, 1 second, and I'd like put my arms in my armpits. I was like, put your hands in your armpits. That's nature's pocket. Like, nobody understood the reference, but I thought it was so funny every time.
Hold your applause. That kills a mold-friendly spore that lives on your hands. Just give a quiet or a kind thumbs or what is it? An environmentally
thumbs up.
A mold-friendly thumbs up. Hold your thumbs.
Hold your thumbs. Yeah, that one's good. And then I like the other one when they do the interview. And he's like, shut up, stop talking, shut up the whole time. And you're like, that is exactly what that person.
Everyone's crazy.
Let me talk.
So speaking of references no one understands, I actually had an inverse moment of that when I was picking up my comics a couple of weeks ago, Rebecca. Thank you for reminding me. I don't remember if the number off the top of my head, I don't remember precisely, but the guy ringing me out after I got my discount for subscribing to comics at my shop, 1077, same as my PIN number. And I turned around and went, yes, I just watched that episode.
Yes, that's such a good one.
I was like, yeah, give me my large pizza and a large soda.
That's awesome.
So that was really, that reminded me. So thanks, Rebecca.
That is so good.
Waterfall family members, which again speaks to the longevity and just the amazingness of this show.
Mhm.
I voted for Old Man Waterfall just because
I did too.
among other things, I love that he keeps piling on to how awful he is, but at the same time, he's like pretty idealistic as well. Like he's a Satanist. Yeah, he's a polygamist, but he's willing to stand up for things that he doesn't necessarily believe in because he believes in other people's freedoms, which in a world that we're living in today, no one's going to do that.
Yeah.
But he's going to fight the fight so that people can have freedom, regardless of what that freedom looks like.
I really like how everybody responded to him. Where he's like, I lost my hand fighting in the war for the freedoms that you all enjoy every day. And everybody's like, yay! Like freedom, like having 7 beautiful wives. Boo!
Boo. I'm gonna tell my husband. Boo!
Yeah.
He's such an amalgamation of so many things too. Because he's a Satanist who is also gay, but believes in equal rights. Like he's just everything.
Yeah.
I mean, really, at this point, he is the ideal human, and I don't care what anybody else says. Oh, I didn't vote for him though. I voted for Frida Waterfall because also every time I hear her name in my head, I'm like, that's Frida. Like, it's so stupid. But I'm like, that's so funny. But I like her. Avenge me. But she has the best lines, I think, of all of them. And she's, I mean, obviously she's in a movie, so she gets to be in it longer, but I don't know. There's something about her voice and the lines that she gets and all the like the feminista stuff is so funny to me. Like, it's so funny.
Always King Kong, never Queen Kong.
Queen Kong, stop making your point so ineffectively. Woe mandate Leo Wong's removal. Just like so funny.
Yeah, she's a great character. She would have been I think my second favorite because the Free Waterfall Senior, Junior were really funny in moments, but the character themselves weren't quite as funny as Frida, I think.
Yeah, I was she has longevity, and Old Man Waterfall have a little bit more like the longevity of like they kept on their same thing, but it kept being funny. You wanted more of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So good.
Let's conservate. I forgot. Pretty good. Not much voting for Free Waterfall the Third. Like I had difficulty even remembering who Free Waterfall the Third was.
Yeah, Free Waterfall the Third and Hutch. I'm like I ended up going to Wikipedia because you had suggested the Waterfall family, and I was like, how many are there? And then I was like, oh, all these people. It didn't even dawn on me that these were all like supposed to be from the same family tree.
Yeah. That was and I think that was the fun part of the subject more than anything else, is because it's one of those like backgrounds, like world building that the show does that they don't they don't shine a light on. They're like, yeah, it's just this family that's got, a bit of prevalence in the storyline that we're telling with this show, but they don't like really blast it for you. If you dig a little bit below the surface, you find out that it's happening,
or like the only thing they have is like the few ones that are like, avenge me, brother, or like, avenge me, son, and then you're like, wait, but like they, it's like they're like, oh hey, by the way, that was my dad. Like you just meet them later on, which I think is very, very funny. But I do like Hutch because he is also in that same Beyond the Wild Green Yonder episode movie, so he and Frida like share that spotlight, and you have no idea at like the time that those are like connected. So when she says avenge me, brother, and then you're like, oh wait, like Hutch is her brother. Like that's very funny to me that they're in the same movie and you don't really realize it.
Yeah.
So our next category, the professor's best invention. We have the what if machine, the electronium hat, dark matter engine, the time button, and the parallel universe box. Someone wrote in the forward time machine, I believe, or maybe I had that one too. But then you had the smelloscope and the thinglonger.
I thought the parallel universe box was the best, just because conceptually it was the most fun. Like I like the idea of simultaneously creating the box together, and like
Yes.
when they're like fixing with the and they're like well, that was pointless. And then like it was just, I don't know, I thought that it was fun.
That is a really good episode. I was trying to decide, like, yeah, I'm like, okay, is it like, what's the best invention, like the funniest like moment, and like the funniest episode? Because like the thing longer, I like only, but it ties into the what if machine. It's only because like that's what it would have happened if I invented the thing longer. So like he never even invented it, but he invented an invention that showed him what would have happened. But the what if machine gives us two very good episodes.
Yeah,
Some of my favorites.
that's right.
I do really like those. So and the smelloscope is really, really funny. And I like that one comes back later on too. But I like the
Ooh, what's that funky jazz?
yeah, I love the what if machine the most.
From a practical standpoint, I feel like it has to be the dark matter engine, because otherwise we don't get the Planet Express ship.
That's true.
But from a personal standpoint, I think I agree with Brendan, where the parallel universe box gets it for me, because that episode is just so much fun.
That episode is super fun.
The what if machine definitely was a contender for me, but I think the parallel universe box just kind of takes it for me, because Zoidberg has the box. And just
King Zoidberg.
That's so
May
good.
I have a chance, maybe?
the box says no.
I do like I think Bender turning into a human for the what if machine is
So funny.
pretty
And
good.
I actually, that's every time that song comes on, I like lose my
Gloria
shit, because I love that song.
Like it was like partying at the Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes.
Just like Gloria Estefan playing while he's like housing hot dogs and cigars.
All right, so let's keep moving. We have the best non-Bender robot. I believe we actually had a couple write-ins, maybe not. We had Flexo, the Robot Devil, Calculon, Hedonism Bot, Tinny Tim, Donbot, Cartridge Bot, and Femputer.
So I wrote in Cartridge Bot and Femputer wasn't there, so somebody wrote that on. I just thought Cartridge Bot was hilarious, but out of the ones that were available, I gotta say I like the Don Bot because he's like understated. Like everybody likes Calculon, everybody likes Hedonism Bot. Those are two very good characters that there's a lot to like there. They're both awesome. But the Don Bot, I don't think gets quite as much, attention as this really hilarious like side character that does a good job of moving plots forward,
And they can like just like insert him. I when I think of Donbot, obviously like you kind of put those as like a trio, all of them together, like Clarence and Joey, because like
Joey
they
Mousepad.
work so well together. The Donbot is probably one of my favorite like side characters.
Yeah. Joey Mousepad particularly, his quotes are so he's like, "Yo's over here's," and they're like, "Where's?" It's like, "I meant over there's. I forgot where I was."
Yeah, or he's like, "What with the killing and the like the way he like mixes all his words up." This part, yeah, he's particularly funny.
Yeah, he's a great character, but yeah, the robot mafia in general is just so great. But I think you're right that it's a dynamic between the three of them. And I had to write in Cartridge Bot because I think the idea of carrying around what you can say in a message bag is just so hilarious. And when he's
that moment is the best.
Yeah, where he says what, and then they like re-explain it, and then he takes the tape out and just puts it back in. He goes, "What?" One of my favorite moments.
That one's good. I was actually surprised nobody put in the robot preacher.
I knew you were gonna say yes.
Preacher Bot.
Oh, I
got
like macaroni sweats.
Yeah, I got the macaroni sweats. Now wrestle or cuddle with your demons. Yeah, wrestle. Now change demons. That episode's so good too.
Yeah, that is a really good side character. There is a lot deep well there.
When I was putting that list together, I actually completely forgot about Cartridge Bot and that gang of misfit toys, because do they actually exist? Because they're only part of Bender's psyche when he's getting his upgrade.
Ooh, that's right.
Josh, just because Harry.
I don't mean to ruin the
it's
fun, because Cartridge Bot is an amazing
in
concept.
your mind doesn't mean it's not real.
Yeah,
I,
anybody
Dumbledore, am telling you that, Harry Potter.
of course it's all happening in your head. That doesn't mean it's not real.
Thank you, Brendan.
All of those primitive robots, like the water powered lady who's like,
I'm not gonna make it.
and then come back calmly.
Anyway, we're on this island, or like when they find a washing machine. Oh yeah, I'm gonna wash my linen so hard. They find a washing machine and say, we should bring this over to Bender. Like that episode's so silly.
It was a really good episode. It was really great.
I'm gonna give my vote to Tinny Tim. I just
Tinny
love
Tim.
him, and I just love how everything just ends up with the carpet being pulled out from under him.
Oh.
Like
Oh dear.
Oh.
or like when Bender's working with the Robot Mafia in the newer seasons, and he uses Tinny Tim to just kind of be his mule or whatever. I just love the versatility of Tinny Tim, because again, you think he's just like this sweet little robot, and then he's gonna go peddle some drugs for the Robot Mafia for Bender.
Yep. He's got a lot of play.
All right, so we've got 2 categories left. We've got Bender's most sentimental moment. This one is Rebecca's suggestion. Our nominees were wanting to be a globetrotter,
Which no one voted for.
saving Shelley the turtle, sacrificing Ben's memory so he can become a Bender, and staying with Fry on the Amish planet. There were no write-ins for this one, but the fan vote actually went with staying with Fry on the Amish planet, which I'm a little surprised by.
That surprised me too. I felt like the episode was almost too new. So
Yeah.
that one was surprising because it wasn't like a classic, I guess, episode. And the only reason I didn't vote for Wine to be a Globetrotter is because I waited, I looked, nobody else voted. So I was like, well, I'll give my vote to one of the other categories. But that is my absolute favorite Bender, like throughout the entire episode. He is so perfect in that one. He's so good at that one. He's so
Organize
cute.
a bake sale for the Globetrotter wives.
Yes! Leela, will you teach me how to make cupcakes? Like he even says it really cute, and like he's like drawing the star, and then Bubblegum's like, oh yeah, like copyright infringement. Like it's like that's a lawsuit.
It's just like tied up at the top.
And like Bubblegum is so mean to Bender that entire episode, and all he wants to do is be a globetrotter. Like you don't even really know why. He just wants to do it so bad. It's hilarious.
So I need to share this real quick because I told Rebecca I would. A couple days ago on my Facebook memories, I had a message from Rebecca back in 2012, and it said, "The turtle where Bender saves the turtle name," or the episode where Bender saves the turtle named Shelley. And I just responded, "Yeah." And she goes, "That's the cutest episode besides the dog one."
It is
Like,
so cute.
Just completely out of nowhere on my Facebook page mentions a random Futurama episode. I'm just like, yeah, okay, what about it?
You're welcome. I think sacrificing Ben's memory so he can become a Bender was the sweetest thing, because like the whole episode
Is so cute.
it was shocking.
It really is.
Like actually he's a really good father like the whole time, because like she had that transition where she thought he'd be an awful dad, but then he ends up being a good dad, and she's like, he's actually a really good father. And
Oh yeah, at the end, he's actually a really good father. Like, and then when hey, if you don't stop crying, you're not getting kidnapped. And then they're running away and they're hugging like the whole time. It's so cute. Bend it, Daddy. Bend it. Like it called you a poo-poo head. What did it call me?
anyway, it's like trying to bend the straw and he can't do it, and then he just puts it down and starts crying.
He's like, or he's like, I'm sorry, son. Who are you again? And he's like, oh, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I love that. I love that play where it does kind of take that idea of like this person is kind of a prick, but they've become a parent, and now all of a sudden like their priorities have completely shifted, and the idea of being a parent and the responsibility with that has just clicked something in them. They become a good person through their parenthood, and I like that a lot.
Are you thinking of the same episode I'm thinking of, Brendan, over there? Because
Yeah, I used to be
Everybody-
a critic, but my kids are like, me too, Josh.
You guys are like nodding, and I was like, I just recall the episode where what I was like, is it the same or what one is it? Where he goes to make the deal with the robot devil. He's like, all I need is your firstborn, and he goes, Daddy, I knew you'd come back, and he goes to punts him into the fire. Like, technically, that was his first son. So, yeah, I don't think Parenthood made him that great.
Touche.
That was so funny. I just remember like, even for the robot, he's like, even for me, that was harsh. I remember watching that, and you see like
Robot Devil was like,
oh, like that's kind of cute. And then when he kicks him, I was like, every time I see it, I'm like, oh god, it's shocking every time. So funny.
Yeah.
That was so good. I don't know. Why can't I think of what episode that is? Why is he making a deal with the robot devil?
Is that the one where he's trying to get back? Is that the same one as saving Fry on the Amish planet?
No, see, I don't think so. Because he becomes a ghost. And
He
then
becomes software. Yeah, he becomes
Yes.
software.
So it's something before that where he goes to like make a deal, and then he's like, all right, I'll make a deal, but I need you. I can't think of what episode that is. Someone Google it. Yeah, Josh is looking it up.
To do with
But I was gonna say, in the meantime, saving Shelly the turtle is where like the Shelly is just in the rest of the episode, which I think that's why I think that one is so cute. But like when they go to the science symposium or whatever, like he brings the turtle with him and has him like in his hand at like the science thing. Like he goes and saves his turtle and then just carries it with him through
it was
the
from
rest
the
of the
Beast with a Billion
episode.
Facts. That's why it was from the movie.
That's why I can't think of. I'm like,
He was
so
looking
much
for an
stuff
army
happened
of
in
the
that one.
damned.
Yes, so that he can go get Fry back from the where he can't
Yep.
get where he can't go in there. Yep.
So yeah, I think the Ben, even with that, Ben's sacrificing Ben's memory to let him become a bender, I think that one's really good. Oh, what the heck, the staying with the Fry on the Amish planet one, that one's, I think that's the only time we ever actually get Bender saying I love you out loud to Fry, even though no one, well, I guess they hear it through the robot devil that he's possessing, but like him cutting off his antenna and stuff like that in the early on episodes. Bender, yeah, he gets a lot of really good sentimentalism because he's obviously the character you would least expect it from.
And that's what makes it particularly precious.
Mhm.
But yeah, when he's I love you, like, and then when he's like picking the corn and he like flies through him and then he turns around, like gives him a ghost hug, you're just like, oh fuck, that's cute. Or he pulls the pretzels out of the oven and they're like misshapen and burnt, and Bender's like claps for him and he goes like this, like a chef's kiss. That's so funny. That episode is really, really good. And I like, he has a lot of like more overt memory, like displays towards Fry. It's also probably cuter, him and Fry like being friends, than it is him like, and his son or whatever. Yeah, the Fry and Bender dynamic is just like cute in general a lot of the time as well.
All right, so our last survey question, poll question, is the best non-Jurassic Park emotional episode. The nominees are Game of Tones, The Luck of the Fryrish, Lethal Inspection. Literally the last episode makes me cry every time. And The Devil's Hands Are Idle. Is it The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings? Someone just wrote The Devil's Hands.
Yeah.
That was me.
So I voted for Game of Tones, but I could be swayed for Lethal Inspection as well.
That one is. I like in Lethal Inspection. My favorite character is the iguana. I don't know why, but I really appreciate him in that episode.
Lethal Inspection has one of my favorite stupid gags ever from this show. It's where they get off the train after limboing for however long, and they realize, oh, we're just on the border of Mexico, and it's like, oh, we're just a stone's throw from Tijuana, where I was born, and he throws the stone. They're just off camera. Ay, Dios mío, there's a stone here on the outskirts of Tijuana. And
Is it within the city limits?
Told ya.
That
I
one is,
love that
and then it's like that's done. That is a good one. I didn't write it in because I tried to wait because I didn't want to be the only one voting. Like if I saw
But again, you could be the trendsetter if you're the one that puts in the suggestion.
It's true. And I'm mad at Game of Tones because, again, you guys know how I feel about Fry's mom. Although that is a good episode. As the mom thing, whatever. Yeah, it was just, I was like, is it like the whole episode is emotional or what? Because my two were when the second episode with the brains where they put him on the Scooty Puff Jr. to go in and then it breaks.
Yes, that is a fantastic episode.
So that episode's really good. And when they send him back, that I think that's like they send him back and then they're like, oh, like Nibbler, like, he's the one that pushed you in or whatever. So when he grabs Nibbler and he's like, I'm sorry, like I don't know. And he's like, we can't like go back in time or whatever. And he's like he talks about Leela. And then when he's like, do you want like your life or Leela's life, basically? And then he's like, yeah, Fry loves Leela so much that he sacrifices everything to go back in time again, or to go in the freezer again. And then at the very end, when he has the flower and he's like, I got this for you, I guess. And she just like, that's like one of the first like times that she like gives him like a really sweet kiss on the cheek. And what does she say? She's like, you might not be the most important person in the world, but like the most important thing is that you're here right now with me. And then he goes, and that does make me the most important person in the world. And that's like, every time I'm like, that's really sweet. Like
that episode has one of my favorite side characters, the mayor's aide. Is there anything you can't do? Fail the mayor.
I can't fail the mayor.
Yeah, he's voiced by Bob Odenkirk.
Yes, he is. Yes, that's such a good little cameo for him. No, that is particularly good. All right, kids, go slide around in your socks. What socks?
It's time for somebody and some girl he's with to go. I took this. I think that this was supposed to be initially something that was like tear jerking, like the Jurassic Park episode. Like nobody watches that who has a heart with a dry eye at the end. But like I was looking at it more in terms of like sweetness, like any kind of emotion, which is why
I did the same as you.
Yeah, which is why I thought The Devil's Hands was really good, because that closing sequence, because I mean, and a lot of that is just watching through the first seasons, knowing that that was the last episode, and knowing that that was like how things were ending, not knowing that they were going to revive the show later on, and having that be the moment that we were left with, like kind of took that emotion to the next level. And to see that they were like kind of running off together in this like sweet kind of like romance, has a bit of childishness to it, like a little bit of innocence despite all of their struggles. But there are a couple I'm surprised didn't make it. One, Leela's parents episode.
Yes, that's the other one I would have said. The end of that one is really good.
And the one with the space bees.
The Sting, the Sting is a really weird episode for me. Like I find it kind of boring until you get to the end.
Okay.
I would say that that's fair to push out, only because it's not overly sentimental until the end, because there's so much happening in it.
Yeah.
And you don't know why until the very, and then you're like, oh, like what? Like Fry did this is crazy, because it's less sweet and more like focusing on how Leela's going, quote unquote crazy in her coma, but it's not like sweet that like she misses him, or like I don't know, it's like missing that mark for me when I watch that one.
That episode's important because it's part of the overall progression of their show. Like that's the first time that like he's actually a rock for me. Like he's actually somebody who can talk me out of a coma, and won't leave my side once the entire time. That's like, so it's got like an importance in terms of the overall arc of their relationship, which again, like I think when I look at these episodes that really, really touch me emotionally, I see like how they fit into the larger like Futurama narrative, and don't look at them as individual episodes, which is, I guess, going back to my original point, like what it is that I like about the show is it's able to be episodic while also accomplishing that same sort of, story consistency and progression of character.
Yeah, you're
carries over
a little
continuity.
bit more invested, because like, if something does happen, like either they'll kind of make a joke about it later on, or like it does well enough of establishing that it's a part of the story and it will come back like at some point.
Yeah. I don't know why I just thought about like when they find the other Cyclops who ends up being a mimic and he gets Fry like is trying to get Leela out of this relationship and he ends up in the dungeon and like letting my feces drop wherever it drops and they're like
Animals go in the corner.
He's like the corner. Like I don't. It has nothing to do with what we were talking about, but for some reason that just popped in my head. And it's part of like, but it is part of what she doesn't like about him is that he's just kind of this goofy idiot who's always failing in his ability to like convince her of his value as a partner. And that was the first time where it was like, okay, well, actually that value is real. You know, he was successful here.
That's actually also one of my favorite animated moments when he pulls on her heel. I don't know why. There's like a few moments that I'm like, that was really well done. And that's one of them where he like pulls on her little heel and he's like, oh, dump him already, Leela. But yeah, like in that episode, he's so important to like making sure that he like, it's not about him not being with her. It's about her not being happy.
Yeah.
And like, he's just trying to fix that part.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You're just jealous. No. Oh, wait, I am. But my point remains valid.
Yes.
One of the other nominees I had on here was The Near Death Wish, which is the one where Professor Farnsworth reconnects with Shabadoo and Gram.
Shabadoo.
So like that one didn't actually get any votes, which looking back on it, I kind of get because it is kind of like the Sting where it's pretty offbeat. And then there's like a really weird twist where apparently the professor has a brother that he's been confused for. And then it ends on this really sweet note where the professor creates a new simulation for his parents where they get to have a chance to be young again and play and make up for lost time. But the ending is really the sentimental part of it. Like the rest of the episode is just kind of really strange with the professor acting childish. And then it just builds to that ending, which again, you can see the through line, but it's very hit and miss with the jokes and how the story is told.
Yeah, I feel the same way about that episode that you said that you too feel about the Sting. I thought it was a little boring and I don't see much of a need to dive into like the professor's unhappiness as a kid. Really, like what I like about the professor is like he's this old guy who's very frail and feeble. He can't throw a chair properly, you know, and the time like he just throws it a couple inches forward. But then he goes to the beach and he's got like a tattoo that says Thug Life.
That's one of his better moments.
Yeah, that's what I like about the professor. Like I like old professor. I don't want to go back and find out how the sausage is made for the professor, you know. That's just me.
I totally understand that, but that is our first ever fan poll for Futurama. Again, I hope everyone enjoyed hearing us gush about this show that we've loved, that's been around for nearly a quarter century somehow. Wow. We're just a couple years away from the 25th anniversary. It's coming back to Hulu, and yeah, this show is just fantastic. It's pretty timeless too, even especially today with like how big nostalgia is. Most of these references can be understood by most anyone.
I think you were saying that you're nervous about the new season because I get not wanting to muddy the waters. There are instances of that happening. Like Jurassic Bark really mattered because you thought the dog waited there alone for so long. And then it turns out that he was just living with Lars the whole time, you know, so that kind of like undermined a lot of what made the first episode so emotionally powerful. But I don't think that it ruined the show for me. And even if the new season does that, like I can just I'd rather have it and it be bad and ignore it than decry it out. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm excited about it. Like I'm looking to it. I think
I'm definitely not gonna watch it. Like I'm definitely going to, but it's one of those things like
you're nervous.
Yeah, when everyone like gets re-excited about something that I feel like I bet, wow, that was really gross. There's like spit on my face. Thank you, my love. Yes, I love you very much. I'm almost done, I promise. When everybody gets excited about something, like I'm the person that I love Harry Potter, same thing, read it twice a year, every year. I hate the movies. I hate them. They're not good, but it feels weird for me to be like, I'm not into the, like, I don't care about Pottermore and I don't care about like the movies and like, I don't really want to go to the wizarding world. Like, even though it seems like it's a part of it and like you really should want to, the originals are so important to me that I get like, is it gonna like taint the like what I already have going on? Like I just feel like very strange about it. I hold things to weird sentimental values. So I'm still gonna watch it, and I know that it'll be funny, and I know it'll have good episodes. But yeah, just like I'm like, okay, like just don't do anything to Fry and Leo that kind of like undermines like everything that they are as characters. Like that'll make me mad. Like don't turn like Amy into a throwaway character. Like she's a really legitimately good character when she has good writing. And I don't want them to like lose like those like little parts.
Shopping for a car is one of my favorites. Jess, it's just the luxury edition. It has so much more eagle.
So much more ego. Sorry, 80,000. Like Amy is, when you go back, like I know she's just supposed to be like the dumb Martian slut or whatever, but she's like, yeah, she's funny and she gets really good lines. So like, yeah, I really enjoy her as a character in the series, and I would hate for them to like shift over to Fry, Bender, Leela and kind of leave like Amy, Hermes, and like the professor on the side just because they don't have any material for them, I guess.
And Zoidberg. You all
And
have Zoidberg.
He's a given. Everybody loves to hate Zoidberg.
Yeah, it's not just because he's what was it? I'll have you know, it's not because he's penniless, it's because he's hideous or whatever. When it's just like making fun of him, he's like, oh. Desperately poor and miserably lonely. I'll have you know it's because he's hideous. Oh.
He gets some good solo episodes. He does.
I was gonna bring up the episode where he gets a girlfriend and he ends up like living in a dumpster or something, and then she becomes a garbage man because she loves his stink so much. Like that, I love that episode.
Because you're born. Oh, born without a sense of smell. That's a lie. Yeah,
Yes.
That episode is really very sweet. I was also thinking, are there any episodes
Like Clark that played that voice, the Queen of Dragons.
Really?
Knock boots with Zoidberg, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's the Queen of Dragons.
It's really well done when they do that. Yeah, I like the when people say the like Zoidberg heavy episodes, because it's like maybe an unexpected character, because like you're not supposed to like him, but they always end up being good. But does everybody get to go on an adventure with Bender? Like Hermes gets his, Fry of course has his, and then I'm like, are there any other ones like that? Like if for some reason I was thinking about that the other day when I was watching the Lethal Inspection one, I was like, do people like get to go off and have like a Bender heavy episode like Amy does when they do Robosexuality? Because like her and Bender don't they interact, but not like, that's like the first time they directly interact. And then of course the entire episode is like them like being the main focus. And Nibbler and Leela and Bender, that's their episode when he gets the emotion chip.
The Lost City of Atlanta, that one, Bender and Zoidberg have the most interaction together, I think, because Bender's helping him move a couch in his new shell.
Yes. All right, I'll help. And then he
accidentally burns it down
because he's smoking a cigar underwater.
They went to Zoidberg's home planet. I guess Bender didn't really do much. It was really Fry.
Yeah, but Bender didn't do much on that one. So did Bender and the Professor have a focused episode together?
There was one where he was trying to when the gender reversal, where
Robonia,
the Borax kid.
No, when he wants to be when they're watching the Olympics,
he goes to the Olympics.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And then they give him the sex change. Yeah, that one. Although I was like, no, I think that one's more like Calculon and Bender, because Calculon's pretty heavily in that episode. I'm like, and then I don't think there are really any other ones where it's like Bender and the Professor. Maybe the sweater folding one, but that's only because he very specifically asked Bender to fold the sweater. That's when he duplicates himself over and over and over again.
Ends up using a crayon to recreate one of them are orange.
And they pop out orange. I know, that one's so cute. And then when they all get drunk because all the water turns into alcohol.
Yeah.
Bender, you have to save us. I'll fold the sweater for you. You would do that for me? You would do two things? We all only have to do 1/quintillionth of a thing.
That's a good episode.
Is that Patton Oswalt in that one?
Yes, he plays the troll. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna wrap it up there, though. We could talk about this show for another 3 hours, I think, if we were allowed the opportunity.
What show?
So Talking
Sorry.
Smack, duh.
I get you every time when I do that. It's funny every time too.
So Rebecca, do you want to throw out any of your social media? I know you've got like an Instagram, you don't do Twitter.
I don't do Twitter, but I make some nerdy / pretty things on Irene Imagines on Instagram. Embroidery, cool stuff. But I did just
Old lady
embroider
things.
old lady things. I did just embroider Shut Up Baby, I Know It, and gave it to somebody at the gym. So that was like I didn't post it because it was like a secret gift for her boyfriend who loves Futurama. But I embroidered that and then did like a tiny little bender head at the bottom, which was really cool. So if it's needle and thread, I'll make anything.
And Brendan, you've got some kind of show. I forget the name of the show, but it's doing all right for itself. If you want to talk about your show a little bit.
Yeah, sure. We talk about I keep trying to think of the elevator pitch for the show because it's a non-typical food show. But conversations basically start with food and what we eat, and then they splinter off into interesting directions, I think. Name of the show is UnChefed, and you can find us on Twitter at UnChefed, Instagram at UnChefed Show, and we have a website, unchefed.com. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing it.
All of those are of course linked below. Rebecca, I actually need to get your Instagram stuff so I can link those in because I don't do Instagram, so I can't get those links.
How old are you?
86.
86. You're crazy. Instagram's right. You see, there are so many pictures of my dog on Instagram, and he's really cute.
He is.
Yeah, I mean I've seen him like 75 times already today. He keeps like teleporting from one side of this.
He keeps trying to cross over me to the other side of the coffee table, but there's no room. But he's like, that's what he's doing. He's stepping on my quads, trying to like sneak past me. If it was up to him, he would walk in front of me the entire time, back and forth. He just likes to rub against me, and now he's under the table chewing on my leg. He's got a bone on my leg.
You can follow me at Josh_Scar on Twitter. You can follow the podcast at Talking Smack Pod. You can email us at tsmackpod@gmail.com. Please rate, review, subscribe to UnChefed as well. Brendan, we really appreciate you taking the time to be here. Hopefully we can find another odd year anniversary to talk about Futurama or other nerd things.
It's 23 years and 2 weeks. Let's do it.
Yes. Or we'll do Futurella. If that ever gets off the ground, then I'll watch that one.
Nice.
Rebecca, as always, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us too. And tell Bo we said hi and he's a good boy.
Bo, you're a very good boy. Yes, they said you did a good job on the podcast today. Oh, he's very excited about it. He's wagging his tail.
All right. So everyone, thanks for taking the time to listen and take care.
Bye.